Hello, I'm Atujami and you're watching HornbillTV's Prime at 9. Now, news in details. The Nagaland Groundwater Regulation and Control of Development and Management Bill 2020 was introduced today at the 11th session of the 13th Nagaland Legislative Assembly. The bill was moved by Geology, Mining and Soil and Water Conservation and Geology and Mining Minister V. Kashiho Sangtam. The minister said main objective of the proposed bill was to regulate control of development and management of groundwater resource in the state. It aims to enforce and implement with proper regulatory mechanism by systematically and scientifically exploiting groundwater resource of the state for long-term planning and sustainable management, stating that in the recent years it has been observed that several private groundwater drilling parties have carried out groundwater abstraction without proper knowledge and understanding of the groundwater regime. He said, considering the objective and reasons, it was felt expedient to introduce the bill.
I make on the table a copy of the annual administrative report 2021-2022 of the Department of Geology and Mining.
Thank you, honorable members. I hope the copies are available on your table. With that, let us now come to item number 4.
Chief Minister Nipurio laid annual administrative reports 2021 to 2022 for the Departments of Finance, Employment, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, State Council of Educational Research and Training, Youth Resources and Sports, State Institute of Rural Development, Women Resources Development, Tourism, Industries and Commerce, Justice and Law and Economies and Statistics. Rio also laid 2 government rules on Nagaland Motor Accident Claims Tribunal Rules 2022 and Rules of Micro and Small Enterprises Facilitation Council under the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Act 2006.
All these suggestions are being taken note of and would be used by the government in the best possible way. I also thank other members who have not participated in the discussion for their patient hearing, and I'm sure all of them are in one accord with those who have spoken in favor of adoption and supporting the motion. Sir, the fact of the matter is that there was no amendment to the Governor Address. And that means the UDA government, oppositionless government, in this August House has exhibited in physically by expression and by their actions.
Minister for Agriculture and Cooperation G. Kaitoai, Minister for Public Health, Engineering and Jacob Jumomi, Minister for Geology and Mining and Soil and Water Conservation V. Kashiho Sangtam and Minister for Planning and Coordination, Land Revenue and Parliamentary Affairs NIBA Chrono tabled their respective departments' annual administrative report 2021 to 2022. Earlier, Dr. P. J. Anthony, Commissioner and Secretary for NLA Secretariat, reported the assent of the Governor of Nagaland on 3 bills: Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management, 4th Amendment Bill 2021, Nagaland Goods and Services Tax, 5th Amendment Bill 2021 and Nagaland Lokyukta 2nd Amendment Bill 2021. Dr. Chocho Sazo, Chairman Committee on Subordinate Legislation, presented 76 report on the Nagaland Building and Other Construction Workers, while K. Toguka Sukhalu, Chairman Public Accounts Committee, presented 126 report of the Committee on Public Accounts, action taken by the government on the observations, recommendations contained in the 120 report of Committee on the C&AG report of India. Later, the House adopted motion of thanks to the Governor. The concluding remark was made by Chief Minister Nipurio. Member of Nagaland Legislative Assembly Itachu today asked the Nagaland government to not only look into the problems concerning the Assam-Nagaland border but also those with Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur and Myanmar. He requested the Assembly to initiate help for the Naga people who are settled along the border areas and suggested that the areas bordering with Myanmar should have developmental activities too. Taking part in the debate on the motion of thanks to the governor's address during the ongoing 11th session of the 13th Nagaland Legislative Assembly, Itachu also said that next year Nagaland will be attaining 60 years of statehood and therefore emphasized on the need to ponder on a grand celebration.
But all these 59 years we have been talking only of the borders of Assam and Nagaland. What about the borders with Nagaland and Arunachal? What about the borders with Nagaland and Manipur? What about the borders with Nagaland with Myanmar? While saying this, I am not talking about the interstate boundary or international boundary. I wanted to impress upon the leader of this house and the government is, in many of these bordering villages, the villages are in Nagaland, but their cultivation, their land is either in Arunachal Pradesh or in Myanmar or in Manipur. I think any individual of this great nation can own any property in any part of the country. Why should a Naga village and Naga citizens be deprived of his inheritance or of his own land, which has fallen in Arunachal Pradesh or in Myanmar or in Manipur or in Assam? It is time now that the government initiate for our citizens the right to have their land that is falling within Arunachal or Manipur or this Myanmar.
A China Eastern Boeing 737-800 with 132 people on board crashed in a remote mountainous area of southern China on Monday. Officials said, setting off a forest fire visible from space in the country's worst air disaster in nearly a decade. More than 7 hours after communication was lost with the plane, there was still no word of survivors. The Civil Aviation Administration of China said in a statement the crash occurred near the city of Wungso in Guangxi region. The flight was traveling from Kunming in the southwestern province of Yunnan to the industrial center of Guangzhou along the east coast, it added. Villagers were first to arrive at the forested area where the plane went down, sparking a blaze big enough to be seen on NASA satellite images. Hundreds of rescue workers were swiftly dispatched from Guangxi and neighboring Guangdong province. The plane was carrying 123 passengers and 9 crew members. The CAAC said, correcting earlier reports that 133 people had been on board. Chinese President Xi Jinping called for an all-out effort by the rescue operation as well as for an investigation into the crash and to ensure complete civil aviation safety. The Bharatiya Janata Party on Monday announced that Uttarakhand's caretaker Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has been elected as the legislative party leader. The decision was taken during the legislative party meeting in Dehradun in the presence of Union Ministers Rajnath Singh, Prahlad Joshi and party MP Meenakshi Lekhi. Pushkar Singh Dhami has been elected as the leader of the legislative party. I congratulate him. I am confident that under his leadership, Uttarakhand will make rapid progress, Rajnath Singh told reporters. According to reports, the new Chief Minister will take oath on March 23. Dhami assumed that CM's office on July 4 last year, succeeding Tirath Singh Rawat. The BJP contested the assembly elections under Dhami's leadership and secured a comfortable majority in the 70-member House, winning 47 seats. India-Australia virtual summit reflects close ties between two countries, said Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla on March 21st. The summit was a very fruitful, constructive and warm exchange of views, Shringla said. The virtual summit reflects the close ties that exist between India and Australia, as also the shared vision of both Prime Ministers to advance their bilateral partnership, the official said.
In a reiteration of for commitment to a progressive Indo-Pacific region, both leaders discussed calibrating and cooperating with each other on support to Pacific Island countries for humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, and in combating climate change through initiatives like the International Solar Alliance and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. The leaders exchanged perspectives about regional and multilateral matters and global issues of mutual interest, including shared concerns such as terrorism.
The Apex Ao Naga tribal organization, Ao Sindan, has requested the Chief Minister of Nagaland to consider and intervene in the proposed realignment and construction of National Highway 707D. The Ao Sindan opined that the shortest possible distance will be the most efficient, according to updates that were received here on Monday, stating a letter of the Ao Sindan to the Chief Minister. Besides a survey report recommended by the PWT NH2, the state government reportedly stated reduction of the existing 85 km by at least 10 kilometers. In a letter to the Chief Minister, appended by Ao President Chubawati Longchar and Secretary Imti Pokyam on Monday, the Ao Sindan stated that Mariani to Mokokchung Road NH 702D is the second busiest highway in Nagaland after Kohima to Dimapur Road NH 29. It is the lifeline of at least 5 districts of Nagaland, including Mokokchung, Tuensang, Zuniboto, Noklak and parts of Woka and Shamator districts, they stated. Pangnong Konyak, BJP candidate for Rajya Sabha elections for Nagaland, today filed her nomination in Kohima. Talking to media persons after her nomination before returning officer at Nagaland Legislative Assembly Secretariat in Kohima, Pangnong said, "We represent around 50% for the future and women have always been very active politically, just that there was this one barrier, which is that we never contested in the election." She said that she came forward and the party is very forthcoming. "I have given my application and it is considered so. I would like to encourage women to come forward," she said. "Women are very expert in electioneering. We need to come forward in politics," she said. Pangnong said she wants to take the aspirations from the people in a very practical way and express hope to bring practical changes.
See, we represent around 50% of the population, and women we have always been very active politically. Just that there was this one barrier which, which is that we never contested for elections. So now I've come forward and I found that the party is very forthcoming. I given my application, it was considered. So likewise, I would like to encourage the women to come forward because we are very expert in electioneering. We need to come forward for politics now. Coming election, we hope to see many women candidates. What I hope for is that I want to take the aspirations of the people forward in a very practical way. And one advantage is that being from BJP party and a party there in the center, which is like very accommodating. So we hope to see that we can bring some practical changes, definitely. But then first I'll have to go there.
Nagaland State BJP President Temjinim Nalong said that among the 9 candidates, the centre leaders gave way to that one woman when the other 8 candidates were also very eligible. He said that BJP leadership under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always been working towards women empowerment. He also lauded the magnanimity of the NDPP partners under Chief Minister Nipurio, promoting women empowerment in every way.
BJP leadership, our most honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, has always worked towards women empowerment, and not only by speech but by deeds. And today that is perforated down to every level in the BJP cadre. And we also know the magnanimity of our NDPP partners in the form of our Chief Minister Shri Nipurio, who have always promoted women empowerment in every way. In the recent declaration also, it is under his leadership the all the civil societies and all the political parties came together and said yes to the women reservation for the municipal and the town elections. So the BJP party, it's not a feeling that comes on and off. It's a feeling that has been there, will be there, and in the days to come we look for more women empowerment practically. She was the only woman candidate. So you can imagine the central leaders gave weight to that one woman than to the other 8 who were also very eligible.
And Biren Singh took oath as Manipur Chief Minister for second term today at the Raj Bhavan in Imphal. The oath of office was administered by Governor Laganation. Along with Biren Singh, other 5 MLAs who took oath as ministers were T.H. Biswajit Singh, Y. Kem Chand Singh, Govindas Kontaujam, Namcha Kibin and Awangpu Nyumai.
I, Nongtongbam Biren Singh, Ayatna, Ishogi Minga, Wasachali, Madhudi, Ayatna, Ainda Lingliba, Baraki, Sambidhandu, Sena Tazagani, Amasung, Madungan Sakani, Baraki Apunba, Asoga Saktibu, Nakani, Manipur State Ki, State Minister Anoina, Kumin Chana, Amasung, Asepa Wakal Galonana, Agi Topdang, Pantokani, Amasung, Aina Aina Sambidhan ki matang ina misang sanggan naidana akiba khawjang manataga phataba wakhal yaudana mipum khudimata.
The swearing-in ceremony was attended by PJP President J.P. Nadda, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, Tripura Chief Minister Biplab Dev, along with a team of ministers from Nagaland headed by Deputy Chief Minister Y. Patent. The ministers from NPF and 1 woman have been included in the first round swearing-in ceremony. Portfolios are yet to be allocated to all the ministers. All the main contenders of chief ministerial posts have been included in the first round swearing-in ceremony held on Monday, day after N. Biren Singh was selected as the leader of Legislative Party by central observers headed by Nirmala Sitaram. Speaking at the sideline of the oath-taking ceremony of Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, Nagaland Minister for Public and Health and Engineering Department Jacob Jumomi lauded the Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government. Jumomi said northeastern states have witnessed tremendous development in terms of infrastructure, road sector under the PJP-led government. The developmental activities, programs and policies of PJP government has impacted northeastern region, he added. The minister also said that Manipur state also saw huge progress under Biren Singh government.
Attend the swearing ceremony of N. Biren Singh Ji, yes, who has been decided as the Chief Minister designate. So today officially, along with his cabinet colleagues. So we are delighted to be here on behalf of the BJP state legislators from Nagaland, and they're led by Honorable Deputy Chief Minister. So we are glad to be here to witness the swearing-in ceremony. All in 2014 onwards, we have witnessed huge development in infrastructures, in road sectors, railways, and many other development programs under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. That is how the people have given mandate to the BJP party in the Northeast, and I think it's growing to a much profound level, and people are believing the BJP party programs and policies, and that's how the leadership has impacted the entire northeastern states. Under his leadership, Manipur has witnessed huge progress in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of road projects, in terms of employment opportunities given to the state of Manipur. And this is the testimony that people had faith in his leadership, and that's how he has won with a thumping majority, 32 seats in the Legislative Assembly, which is a huge margin, and people believe in his leadership. That's how I think he has been voted back to power.
To know more on the details of non-feasibility of city bus stand in National Highway 29, Dimapur to Chumukedima, HornbillTV interviewed Dimapur's DCP Crime and PRO Bharat Lakshman. Lakshman mentioned that due to absence of bus bay, the traffic could not approve for a uniform city bus stand in NH 29. Let's have a look at a detailed report.
आमी खान NST लगा डिपार्टमेंट लोग होते, दाइखानला असिस्टेंट स्टेशन सुपरिटेंडेंट लोग होते और ट्रैफिक पुलिस टीम वेंट एंड वी डिड सर्वे. तो सर्वे करा पछे ते at 36 different locations आमी खान की फाइंड आउट होइशे कि देर इज नो प्रोविजन ऑफ बस बे लगा प्रोविजन तो ना है NH29 ते चुमुक दिमा परा लोई के ना पुराना बाजार तक स्ट्रेच अप एंड डाउन इतू करने आमी खान तो बस स्टैंड और पार्किंग लॉट तो इति एरिया ते ना बनाबो पारि बोले फिजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट ना है इनका रिपोर्ट दिशे. और एक रीजन था कि जुदी बस बे ना थकिले तो आमी खान के तो बस स्टैंड आइडेंटिफाई करबोले करने तो मेन कैरेज वे ते करबो लगिबो. जुदी मेन कैरेज वे ते बस स्टैंड लगा एरिया आइले तो इट विल ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट द ट्रैफिक एंड इट विल नॉट बी सेफ. इतु पैसर्स बाय के भी इतु सेफ ना थकिबो इतु करने ही इतु नॉन फिजिबल रिपोर्ट तो NST और ट्रैफिक पुलिस परा कंबाइंड दिया ही असे. दी ऑप्शंस तो इज ऑलवेज देयर विथ कमिंग टाइम्स टेक्नोलॉजी भी अपग्रेड हुई थके with new modes of public transportations coming up. So I think there is always a hope, there is always an opportunity to have different way of public transportation. Coordination as of now also not having public transportation is adversely impacting our environment. Secondly, our students can't be bishi dukh pai ase. And thirdly, of course, it has economic cost also because a lot of businesses and customers they find difficult in traveling and then office time they be manukhan obviously traveling time add kurle to it affects the office hours also. So maybe because of the economic factors, environmental factors and the public demand and convenience, hopefully all the stakeholders, be it the public, be it the different departments, police department including, will come up and hopefully we will have some solution maybe in coming future. अपनी कोआ तो उसाई असे. Obviously, strictly speaking, it is not a policing subject per se. होले भी of course आमी खान city planning करा time ते maybe it was not a very planned city आणि तुला development भी विशी plan पूरा हुआ ना है. That is the reason. Coordination, strictly speaking, public transportation doesn't come under police department alone. However, we try to manage traffic with whatever infrastructure we have to live in present reality. But we are also hopeful in coming days with advent of new technology and more focus on environment, public safety. Hopefully, we will have a better public transport system in Dimapur also.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Scott Morrison held the second India-Australia Virtual Summit on March 21st. Addressing the virtual summit, PM Modi said thanks to his Australian counterpart for the initiative to return the Indian antiquities. Antiquities sent by Australia include hundreds of years old of artifacts and photos that were illegally taken out of Rajasthan, West Bengal, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh and other states. Modi said on behalf of all Indians, Modi said he thanks the Australian leaders. Notably, the first virtual summit between the two countries was held on June 4, 2020, when the relationship between them was elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership.
विशेष आभार व्यक्त करता हूं. अब इनको जो आपने हमें मूर्तियां लौटाई है, सारी चीजें लौटाई है, उसको सही स्थान पर लौटाया जा सकेगा. मैं सभी भारतीय नागरिकों की तरफ से इस पहल के लिए आपका फिर से एक बार हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं.
After a thumping victory in Punjab Assembly polls, Aam Aadmi Party candidate and former cricketer Harbhajan Singh on March 21st filed nominations for Rajya Sabha from Punjab. AAP swept the recent state assembly elections, securing 92 seats of the 117-member House. That's all we have for now. Keep watching Hornbill TV.